All right, Beast Game Podcast. We're reviewing Geostorm. It's directed by Dean Devlin. It's written by Dean Devlin and Paul Guyett. It stars Gerard Butler, Jim Sturgis, and Abby Cornish. And the synopsis is, when the network of satellites designed to control the global climate start to attack Earth, it's a race against the clock to uncover the real threat behind a world geostorm which wipes out everything and everyone. All right, so just to give a brief overview, it starts off with a monologue about climate change, and in 2019, there's so much climate change that the world is about to die. So the UN and a number of scientists create a weather satellite grid, and that satellite grid allows for the weather to be controlled on the Earth. It's called Dutch Boy. It was designed by Jake Lawson, who is Gerard Butler's character. So you start off with a Senate hearing with Gerard Butler testifying in front of Congress. The Senate committee is going to hand over control of Dutch Boy, the weather grid, to an international committee, because at this point in time, the U.S. has been managing it. Gerard Butler's kind of against it. He gets into an argument with one of the senators. Then they put him off the group maintaining the weather grid. So it jumps to 3 years later. The military is in a desert town that is frozen over. So they're trying to figure out why this is happening. Someone is hacking that to cause people to freeze on contact. Like
sabotaging.
Yeah.
So basically like a terrorist act, right?
Yeah. And then they ask Gerard Butler's character to go investigate. Matt, what is your opinion on Geostorm?
Felt this movie was an outdated, cheesy, weather porn movie that probably would have succeeded 20 years ago, that dealt with terrible weather. I believe one of the producers specializes in like weather catastrophes. He produced multiple ones prior to this, so this wasn't any different than those. As far as attempted emotional connection with the characters, with the audience, they failed miserably. I didn't really care too much for any of the characters.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is relatively important to the overall story. Really, it's just Gerard Butler, and they try to throw some angles in with him because of his brother and his daughter, and you forget that he actually has a daughter.
Why was she even narrating it to begin with?
I don't know. It's like, my father.
It's like, who are you?
Yeah, I didn't know who it was, and didn't really make any sense for her to be there.
She wasn't even a main character, but this movie was definitely outdated, and I was disappointed. I mean, I think you kind of pick up on it when you go to the movies and they're only showing it 3 times on a Saturday.
So for me, I feel that most of this movie is telegraphed, and it does kind of play on similar movies, The Core, San Andreas, The Day After Tomorrow, which I actually have a soft spot for. But
Armageddon.
Yeah. All the dialogue from all the characters is written very snarkily. It's terrible comedy. There's also a joke about a Chromebook. I would just say this, that if you threw some Transformers in this movie,
that's what it would have been.
Yes. It might actually get a 5.
When you were watching the movie, did you start having flashbacks of like Independence Day?
Well, I started having flashbacks because they kept showing the same scenes over and over where people are running away from the storm at a beach or a coast, or like a car driving away from the city as the city gets obliterated. They did that several times in the movie. And it just got tiring. It was like, why is this continuing to happen?
I don't believe it could get that cold where cold weather touches someone like, what was it, liquid nitrogen?
Yeah, where it freezes on contact.
Yeah, I'm like, really? So the water came over and then froze everyone that quick after being in 80-degree weather?
Yeah, it was actually pretty stupid. And also, another problem I have with the movie is that it's just nothing but people looking at screens.
And they kept showing the countdown like every
Basically, it was like
minutes.
a command center, and everyone was just looking at screens. How can we stop this? This is happening.
Yeah.
And then show a cut of something happening.
Yeah, and the overall idea, there's the president, and then there's Ed Harris, who is the Secretary of State, and it's like actually him who's doing that because he's trying to protect how important America is to the world. What was the point of this movie if that's going to be the idea? Needless to say, I had some problems with just the direction of the movie. I started thinking logically about some of the things that were going to happen. So,
no. You put logic with this movie?
yeah. So, first of all, why would the Secretary of State, Ed Harris, be so close to the president if he knows that Orlando is going to get obliterated?
I don't know.
Next question. Why would the bad guys feel safe if all this stuff is going to lead to a geostorm?
I know.
What?
All right. So the whole thing is that they're going to set off like this whole chain of events that think of like the world's going to erupt. That is going to be like hurricanes and tornadoes and immense heat, floods and stuff all happening all at once. But the president is giving a campaign speech in Orlando, and Orlando's supposed to be like obliterated. But Ed Harris is there.
And you're in there. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So Ed Harris is there. Why would you want to be there if you know this is all going to be done?
I'd be in like Mississippi.
I started thinking about that. I'm like, why would that actually happen? Why not just kill Jake's character during the shuttle launch of him going to the space station? So, needless to say,
Boy.
this is probably gone on a little bit longer than what it needed to be. So, Matt, wrap up thoughts and the score.
Very, very predictable movie that probably could have got away with it in the mid-90s. Here we are in 2017. You'd think that there would have been better writing or a plot. I wouldn't even watch this movie on Fox. I'd feel like I'd waste my time. As far as the score, I'd give it about a 4.
Oh, I thought you were going to give it a 0. Oh, man. Oh.
No, I mean, there's
Oh.
there's minute.
I'm just saying, he
qualities of the
hesitated
movie.
for a moment. He hesitated, and he thought about it. He considered it.
I'd say about a 4. Yeah. I didn't fall asleep during the movie, I will say that. But the
It's short
corny
enough.
lines, the corny plot, predictability of this movie, especially towards the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't get in. Here it is. Someone else pops up. Like, that's something that happened in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5. So, we're not that far off as far as the score.
Down there with Suicide Squad for you.
Yeah. A couple of problems I have with the movie is Gerard Butler's brother in the movie, Max, who is played by Jim Sturgis, starts to become annoying. He is a problem. And it's just like, I'm just going to sit here and talk all sappy about brothers and fishing. And this movie should not be that emotionally connecting at all. The mystery is not good. And I get tired of the dual hacker situation. So you have the bad guy hacker and then the good guy
Like
hacker.
the girl hacker.
Yeah. So again, it's a lot of people looking at screens talking about, oh, well, here's the countdown for this to happen. Poorly shot action scene. Like maybe 30 minutes into the movie, this could be all right. It could be good if you throw some Transformers in it.
I was thinking it too. I was like, okay, where's the Dinobots?
You put some Transformers in this movie, radically changes this movie into a 5. And that's the Beast Game Podcast. You can find more of our podcasts at beastgame.com, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.